toilets, but I imagine just about everything else. Her job is so that everyone in the social justice ministries feels that they're listened to and accounted for, and they're being heard, and how she does it, none of us know. So to find out how she does it, we invite Julie Madden to talk to us.
We do a pyramid that is fantastic. So the best part about speaking at St. Joan of Arc is that Anna, our liturgist, says to you, what music do you want? And you say, Wailing Jenny's One Voice, and look what happens. And, awesome. You don't really need me, is the point.
Oh, yes, you do.
Prayer is meaningless unless it is subversive, unless it seeks to overthrow pyramids of hatred, opportunism, and falsehood. The liturgical movement must become a revolutionary movement. That's Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. Welcome to St. Joan of Arc this morning, and welcome to 2020. Oh, my people. How will we navigate this year is the question. It is a watershed time in our country, our church, our communities, our consciousness. We have been asked to normalize cruelty and callousness and fear and loathing, and we are lurching into an election season that will last until November. Does all of that just give you a really sinking feeling? I know, which is why I so wanted to speak this Sunday. I am committed to living into and through 2020 with my hope and faith not just intact, but thriving, and you're going to help me. 2020 means perfect vision. And I'd like to challenge us today to envision what and who we want to be in this year. And our first guide is our scripture today. That gospel is often used to talk about Jesus's very revolutionary, nonviolent resistance, which is important. But today I am focusing on the love. Love of our God, love of our neighbor as ourself, love of our enemy as our neighbor, this relentless, overwhelming love. And then, if that's not crazy enough, Jesus tells us to be perfect as our God is perfect. Okay. But it seems to me that Jesus, in this context anyway, is not defining perfect as without error. It means to be perfect in love, as God is perfect in love. God doesn't compute. It is love without reservation or distinction or conditions or exclusion. It is poured out on all of us because that is God's nature, and we are created in the image and likeness of love. So if love will get us through this, I'd like to start with love of ourselves. And I do not mean a spa day, although good for you. My challenge to all of us today, especially myself, is to love ourselves in this year by feeding ourselves and our spirits with what truly will nourish us. At the end of many days right now, I am exhausted from consuming way too much media and information and outrage and facts, and it brings me no closer to my inner sacred center, to God, to any of you, or to peace. So maybe, can we commit this year to giving our attention and our awareness not to what drains us, but what fills us up? Can we commit to lying down at night exhausted because we have given the best of ourselves, the best love we have to offer to ourselves and our neighbors and our enemies, to choose what we take in with care? I saw Martha before 9 o'clock Mass, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, what will happen to the children in Syria? And I was reminded that this kind of love, this paying attention and giving our awareness to what matters, doesn't mean we will not suffer and have our hearts broken open. But when our hearts are broken open, that's when we step out in love and we connect with other people and we change the world because it matters that much. Love is going to get us through this. We need the love of community. We can't do this alone. I heard this week that all we need is unlimited grace and unlimited accountability. We need people, live people, not the digital people, who don't just commiserate with us about how we feel in our small circle, but who will open us up to new encounters and new ways of being and thinking, and who will continue to call us to our vision, to our best selves, and give us the grace we need when we screw up or we're exhausted. We need a community that will fill us up when we are empty and keep us focused on the vision. I decided a couple years ago I needed a purpose for church. And the purpose for me is to encounter the sacred here with all of you, to weave the beloved community, and then to go out and transform the world. You taught me that, and it is what we will need to do for one another. And finally, to get through 2020, unscathed and more alive, we will have to love the world fiercely. Justice has been described as love in action. And Blessed Archbishop Oscar Romero has said, a civilization of love is not sentimentality, it is justice and truth. It is only a caricature of love when we try to patch up with charity what is owed in justice. True love demands what is just. So, to get there, in 2020, we, this community, our Peace and Justice Ministries, we will be joyfully, unabashedly, steadfastly political. Pope Francis said, sometimes we hear a good Catholic is not involved in politics. This is not true. Good Catholics immerse themselves in politics by offering the best of themselves so leaders can lead. An authentic faith always involves a deep desire to change the world, to transmit values, to leave this earth somehow better than we found it. We love this magnificent planet on which God has put us, and we love the human family which dwells here, with all of our tragedies and struggles and hopes and aspirations and strengths and weaknesses. The earth is our common home, and all of us are brothers and sisters. If indeed the just ordering of society and of the state is the central responsibility of politics, the church cannot and must not remain on the sidelines in the fight for justice. That will be our language. The language of Pope Francis, of Catholic social teaching, the language of Jesus, who when asked said, I have come to bring good news to the poor and to set the oppressed free, the language of our faith and our values. We will not endorse or demean a party or a candidate. We will endorse a vision of human dignity and liberation and the common good. We will talk about those principles in the bulletin today, economic justice and the rights of workers. We will talk about dismantling systems of racism and nationalism. If politics is the shaping of our public life together, justice together is how we can shape our systems to reflect our love. And how does this work? Well, in my own life, I think back to a conversation I had a couple of years ago with my husband's cousin on health care. It didn't go well. We lobbed facts back and forth at each other and escalating volume and intensity, and we did not know each other any better at the end of it. We had not changed each other, certainly. We had not connected at all. And I wish I could go back now and say, Mark, do you believe that every person should have affordable, accessible, quality health care? That's a good question. Because if he says yes, then we have met. And I'm pretty sure he believes that to be true. So how do we get there? And that's a conversation I can have. And collectively we get there in a few different ways, especially today. I've learned from Isaiah, from Wham, you do not have a meeting without an action, and we have 3. After this Mass, you are invited to join our Welcome the Stranger ministry in the Parish Center Daisy Room to learn about our upcoming delegation to the U.S.-Mexico border. It will be in conjunction with the School of the Americas Watch, so it will include training and activism on ending the root causes that are forcing our brothers and sisters to migrate from their homes. And after both the 9 and the 11 o'clock Mass in the Parish Center upper room today, our housing ministry team has had cupcakes. They will have cupcakes. And they are inviting you to join us in a very bold ask of the legislature this year. We need a serious investment to end the crisis of homelessness and the lack of affordable housing. And we have postcards for you. You will sign postcards to our elected officials and you will say to them, this is what home means to me and why it's important. And I will tell you my self-interest in this is that my son has a good job that pays well, and he has been priced out of the city of Minneapolis, as has my dad. So, I want this city to be able to end the crisis in our midst, and we will do that together this legislative session. I want to give it up for our Isaiah Corti, who has been in the Welcome Center after every Mass, every week this year so far, and it gets serious this Sunday. We need you to head out to that table or to the table in the church vestibule and sign up to attend your precinct caucuses this Tuesday. Now, we are asking you to take an incredible faith agenda. No matter what your party is, your affiliation, if you can take this agenda to your neighborhood caucus, you will be speaking up for the rights of immigrants, low-income people, children, people of color, people who have been marginalized in our state and deserve our investment and our partnership. This is what our faith calls us to. We can counter this narrative. When you are asked to believe in fear and isolation, we can counter with our belief, our trust in community and love and abundance. Now, more than 250 Jonah Barkers have signed up to do this so far, so imagine the presence of all of these people of faith on Tuesday night. But we need you. If you participate, you will make a difference. And if you don't participate, you will make a difference. Mm-hmm. Now, we have stickers, we have buttons, we have swag like you wouldn't believe, so that when you go into your caucus, you will be very visibly identified as a Catholic Christian seeking justice with your neighbors in this world. Get out there today, okay? Yeah? And I want to encourage encourage you because Isaiah is doing a phenomenal job. After the 2018 elections, we had built such powerful relationships with legislators that the majority of the legislation proposed in the House came from Isaiah's faith agenda. You don't have to know it all, okay? You don't have to have all the details of it. You just have to be willing to stand up for what matters. And every week you come here, however you engage in our ministries or in the world, I hope you experience revelation and revolution as we offer the world a different way of being. We know what welcome looks like and what inclusion sounds like. And in our communion and our sending forth, we know what justice tastes like. I'll close with Maya Angelou's words. My wish for you is that you continue. Continue to be who you are and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue. In a society dark with cruelty, to let the people hear the grandeur of God in the peals of your laughter. Continue. To put the mantle of your protection around the bodies of the young and defenseless, the despised and diseased, the sick and the aged and the infirm. Continue. To let faith be the bridge you build to overcome evil and welcome the good. Continue. To dare to love deeply and to risk everything for the good thing. Continue. There's a new world coming, St. Joan of Arc. Welcome to 2020. Amen.